Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you had a nice Easter break and you're ready to begin. I hope you had lots of chocolate and were able to relax a little bit. All right, so let's talk a little bit about New York. Would you like to experience New York as a holiday destination? And then the question is, would you like to live in New York? Two different situations, and maybe your answer changes slightly from one to another. So that's very interesting. Now let's look at our unit. We're going to continue with activity 8, and we're going to talk about trends. So on page 86, there is a picture here. And have a look at this picture. It's obviously an inspection card. Well, what is an inspection card? So take a moment and analyze what you can see. Port of departure, name of ship, etc., etc. So it's obviously regarding a boat, right? And if you look at the stamp, there's the date, December 4th, 1925. So it was very common in New York City many years ago that a lot of immigrants arrived by ship. Specifically, and this one doesn't say, but many people arrived at Staten Island, right? Staten Island, I believe, is where Statue of Liberty is. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that there is an island there in New York that many immigrants did arrive from other places at that time. So there you have it. It's like a boarding card or a ticket in order to immigrate to a better way of life. Okay, so we have some trends here. We have 6 sentences describing the trends in New York City. And we have underlined words in each sentence. Reached a peak, remained relatively stable, overtook, brief dip, decrease, and a steep fall. So in order to understand the meanings, okay, I also have some synonyms here for what they mean. So let's have a look at my daughter's board here. Okay, we have go down very quickly, to go down, to stay the same, to reach a high point, was higher than, and a short drop before rising again. So I want you to take a moment and read the sentences from 1 to 6, and I want you to match the underlined phrases to the meanings. Okay, so number 1, reached a peak, is to reach a high point, D. Number 2, remained relatively stable, C, to stay the same. Overtook, number 3, is E, was higher than. 4, New York experienced a brief dip, F, a short drop before rising again. A short dip. 5, the decrease is B, to go down. And finally, steep fall, to go down very quickly, okay? A steep fall. Now we're going to listen to a radio program in activity 2 with an economist. And I want you to decide if the statements from activity 1 are true or false. So let's take a moment. Here we are.
Vocabulary focus. Activity 2. New York City's population in April 2000 stood at just over 8 million, the highest it had ever been since records began. However, while the city's population grew substantially in the first half of the 20th century, It dropped from nearly 7.9 million in 1950 to 7.1 million in 1980. This was despite the baby boom and the surge in immigration from Europe, which started in the 1950s and continued through the 1970s. It was during this period that many families left New York City for the suburbs. But this trend was reversed over the next 2 decades as parts of the city were regenerated, and a rise in immigration from Asia boosted the population to a peak of 8 million by the year 2000. It is unlikely that population growth will reach the levels seen in the first part of the 20th century, when the city's population went up by 38% between 1900 and 1910. But sharp declines are also unlikely. A period of relative stability in population levels seems likely during the first few decades of the 21st century. Moderate growth is expected, although it will be sufficiently high to push the population up to 9 million by 2030.
Okay, so if necessary, you may want to listen again, all right, and answer true and false. So if that's the case, then go back and listen again, and then we'll correct the answers. Okay, so number 1 was true, 2 was false, 3 was true, 4 is false, 5 is true, and 6 was false. Okay, looking at activity 3, which words in the recording match meanings 1 to 4? Excuse me. Excuse me. A lot, 2 words. A little, 1 word. Go up. It says 4. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. But it's actually 3 words. And 4. Go down. 2 words. Okay, so pause and come back when you're ready. Okay, welcome back. So number 1, substantially and sharp. 2, moderate. 3, grow, surge, and boost. And 4, decline and drop. How did you do? Okay? Okay, good. Now in activity 4, okay, you have questions about how do you think the population trends in New York City compare to where you live? So how is it similar or different to Lugo? And what do you think it would be like to emigrate? Okay, so what would you miss about home? What do you think would be the most difficult, right? All right. Once you write those out, you can send them to me. Also, we might have the possibility of doing some Zoom classes. We'll try and choose a time that works for everyone. I'm home all day with my daughter as my husband works normally. So it'll be interesting. We might have a little visitor with us, but we'll see if we can organize a time, okay? In the meantime, you can write out your answers, and then if we do have a class, a Zoom class, then we can talk about the answers as well. Okay. In activity 5, I'd like you to complete the text with the words in the box. So you have decline, dropping, overtaken, peak, risen, and sudden. So take a moment and read the survey about population, and then come back and we will correct it. All right, so number 1, risen. 2, decline. 3, overtaken. 4, sudden. 5, dropping. And 6, peak. Okay, So we'll go on to number 6 and 7. These you can do again as a writing activity and send them to me. Make some predictions about future trends where you live, about the population growth, immigration, and emigration. So immigration, people leave Spain to go work somewhere else. Excuse me. Emigration, those people that have left then return, okay, to Spain. So again, write out your answers. And with 7, you can also write about what you think or how do you think predicted trends for your country compare with worldwide trends. So do they think population is going to go up here in Lugo, and how does that compare around the world, for example? Okay, now on page 87, we're going to talk about verb patterns with reporting verbs. Now, this is one of those things, verb patterns, ing, infinitive. Um, is there an object pronoun involved? Is there a WH question involved? It's just a question of practice and what verbs we use with what pattern. So let's go to page 161 quickly. Okay. And here you can see in number 2, verb patterns with reporting verbs, right? So reported speech. So you have the different patterns, whether there's an infinitive, number 1, for example, verb plus infinitive, whether you have an object, right? Verb plus object, infinitive. She persuaded me to go, right? To persuade, to convince, for example. And you have the list of the other verbs possible. There's a verb, beg, to beg. Oh, please, 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 Mom, let me go to the party, right? To beg. All right. 3, again, a verb, okay, plus that, which is optional, and the continuing clause, right? She recommended that we should visit the museum. She recommended we should visit the museum. Okay. Then you have verb and ing, verbs with prepositions, objects and prepositions and ing. Okay. Verbs with WH words and infinitive. Okay. Lots of different options. So have a look at these verbs and these patterns. Okay. And then go back to page 87 and look at activity 1. Cross out the verbs which cannot be used to complete each reported statement. Okay, so take a moment, stop the video, and do the activity, and then come back. Remember, you want to eliminate the incorrect objects. Cross out the incorrect objects, verbs. Okay, so number 1, reminded cannot be used. 2, insisted cannot be used. 3, claimed cannot be used. 4, reminded cannot be used. 5, requested and denied cannot be used. 6, blamed, claimed, and denied cannot be used. 7, accused and warned cannot be used. And 8, regretted and accepted cannot be used. Okay. In activity 2, look at the examples from activity 1. Which of the verbs can be followed by these options? Okay, so take a moment, stop the video, and answer the questions. Okay, welcome back. So, number 1, admit, deny, accept, claim, insisted. 2, admit, regret, deny. 3, warned. Oh, I can't read what this says. I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing. All right, well, I think it's best now that I can't read my own writing is sorry, argued? I can't read what I wrote. All right. 4, accuse. And 2 plus ing, admit, deny, recommend, and suggest. Okay, so I apologize. Better write out the answers and send them to me, and then I'll correct them for you. I did this last night, and I can't read what I wrote. Okay. Let's go on to activity 4. Okay. What did the speakers actually say? So here we're going to listen, and you have to change the sentences into direct speech. So first, I'd like you to try them, okay? Do them yourself. And then once you've changed them, then we'll listen and you can compare your answers, okay? You can always send me your answers as well. It doesn't necessarily mean that what you wrote is wrong, but these are just some other ways of saying it. Okay, so uh, pause the video now if you need to, and then come back.
Unit 8, Grammar Focus. Activity 4. 1. Order.
I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice. I have to leave here to find work.
2. Una.
Don't worry, Mum. I'm not lonely. I've made loads of friends here already.
3. Sean. I wish I hadn't left. I think I would have had a better chance of starting my own business at home. 4. Connor. The government hasn't done enough to create jobs. That's why so many people are leaving. 5. Ryan's dad. Listen, son, I really think you should stay in Australia. You've got lots more opportunities there. 6. Kira.
I don't regret emigrating for 1 minute. It's the best decision I've ever made.
Okay, very good. I love the accent in number 6. Very Irish. It's fantastic. Okay, so again, you can always send me your answers if you would like me to correct them for you. Now looking at impersonal reporting verbs, okay? Which of the sentences sounds more formal and official? Okay, and in which types of texts would you be likely to find it? So you have 2 sentences. Which one do you think is more formal? I hope you said number 2, okay? It is believed that there aren't enough opportunities for young people. Now, to make it even more formal, it wouldn't be a contraction, right? Are not. There are not. Okay, so in personal reporting verbs, if you go back to page 161, okay, number 3, it says impersonal reporting verbs are used in formal written English to report general opinions. Okay? Verbs such as believe, consider, expect, suggest can be used. For example, it is believed that immigration will increase substantially in the next 10 years. Okay. You'll find these in or you'll find using reporting verbs is very useful in essays, in proposals, anything involving more formal activities, right? So actually you can complete this exercise, okay? And you can send me the answers. It's like a sentence transformation activity. Okay, so that's right here on page 161 in the grammar reference. Okay, and as well, if you go back to page 87, activity 6, tick the statements you agree with, discuss with your partner, okay, give your opinion. Then write the underlined words using an impersonal reporting form and the verbs in brackets, okay? So that is your homework for the week or for the next day or two. There may be some more coming to you next class. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys have a very nice day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.